A pregnant woman in a robe stares out at a fire. She walks towards the flames, dropping a wedding veil into a burning box. She holds her ring over the fire, then lets it fall. Tears stream down her face as she clutches her belly, watching her memories turn to ash. Later, in an office, a bandage is removed from her eyes. Her vision slowly clears. She looks at her hands in astonishment, a tearful smile spreading across her face. She can see. She grabs the doctor's arm, overjoyed. He smiles back. She lovingly strokes her belly, then rushes home. Still carrying a blind person's cane, she enters the house, pretending she can't see, but her eyes dart around, taking everything in. She hears a shower running and a woman's laugh. She walks slowly down the hall and sees the reflection in the glass door, her husband embracing another woman. The wife freezes, her face a mask of horror. The husband suddenly pulls away, spotting his wife in the doorway. The other woman scoffs. The husband steps out, adjusting his clothes, feigning concern. The wife stares at him, her face cold. He asks a question. She answers with a piercing glare. He looks flustered, trying to cover his tracks. He doesn't notice the other woman leaning against the bathroom mirror behind him. But the wife sees her clearly. The husband waves a hand in front of his wife's face, his expression suddenly shifting from confusion to pure terror. He realizes she can see everything. The husband reels back in shock. He grabs the other woman, shoving her out of sight behind the door. He turns back to his wife, forcing a look of concern. He tries to comfort her, but she shoves his hand away. He nervously tries to guide her. Putting his hands on her shoulders, she allows him to lead her to the couch. He sits her down, and she immediately questions him. His eyes darting around nervously, he stammers out an excuse. While the other woman smirks from the doorway, he lies again. But the wife's cold stare tells him she knows the truth. He looks down in defeat. The other woman saunters into the room, smiling sweetly. She speaks to the wife with fake kindness. The wife responds with a look of pure contempt. The other woman then walks to the husband, grabbing his tie flirtatiously, pulling him close right in front of his wife. She whispers in his ear. The wife sits silently, gripping her cane, her knuckles turning white. The husband whispers back to the other woman, his cruel words about his wife hanging in the air. The other woman giggles, covering her mouth. The wife flinches as if struck, a single tear rolling down her cheek. A memory flashes of him promising to love her forever. The other woman continues to caress him. The husband glances at his wife, then agrees to the other woman's suggestion. He stands up, makes a flimsy excuse about a meeting, and walks out of the room. The wife watches him leave, her face a mask of heartbreak and fury. Later that night, a storm rages. The wife stands alone in the downpour, clutching her belly, his cruel words echoing in her mind. She stumbles through the rain, tears mixing with the water on her face. She collapses against a fence, overcome with grief. She makes her way to a large house, where an older man and woman stand in the doorway, her parents. Their faces are etched with shock and sorrow. The wife falls to her knees before them, sobbing uncontrollably. Her mother cries, reaching for her, but the father holds his wife back, his expression cold and unyielding. A memory flashes. The wife is a younger woman, arguing with her father. He strikes her across the face. She stares back, defiant. He points a finger, banishing her from the house. Back in the present, the wife kneels in the mud. Broken, she looks up at her father and nods, accepting his terms. His stern face softens with a flicker of pain. The wife walks back into the house, her face a stony mask. The husband rushes to her side, his face and neck covered in lipstick marks. He asks where she's been, his voice laced with fake concern. Her mother embracing her tearfully. Her father confronts her, his voice booming with anger. He reminds her of his warnings, of the husband's deceit. The wife collapses into her mother's arms, sobbing. He embraces his daughter, holding her tight, his eyes filling with tears. He tells her she can always come home. He then turns, his face hardening with rage. He vows to destroy the husband, but the wife stops him. She tells him she will make her husband pay. Back in the house, the husband approaches her on the couch, reaching for her hand. She recoils, pushing him away, then runs to the bathroom and slams the door in his face. He pounds on the door, his voice filled with panic. The wife splashes water on her face, staring at her reflection, her eyes filled with disgust. The husband continues to pound on the door, begging her to come out. She ignores him, her mind racing with thoughts of his betrayal. She finally opens the door, her face a blank slate. The husband rushes to her, grabbing her hands, his face a mask of fake concern. He asks what's wrong, but she just stares at him, her eyes cold and empty. He kneels before her, placing his hands on her pregnant belly, whispering sweet nothings to the unborn child. She stands motionless, her hands clenched into fists at her sides. He stands up, taking her hands again, promising to be a better husband. She looks at him, a single tear tracing a path down her cheek, and asks if he truly loves her. He swears he does, that she and the baby are his entire world. She pushes past him, and he catches a glimpse of his reflection in the mirror, his face and neck covered in lipstick marks. He stares in horror. Finally understanding, he turns to her, his voice trembling, asking if she can see. The wife pretends to stumble, her hands outstretched as if she can't see. The husband rushes to catch her, but she sidesteps him, walking confidently down the hall. He stares after her, his face a mixture of confusion and fear. She walks away, leaving him standing alone and bewildered. The other woman sidles up to the husband, wrapping her arms around him. The wife watches them from a distance, her face a mask of cold fury. Later, the wife stands in a dark room, a single ring light illuminating her face. She stares at her reflection, her eyes filled with tears. She holds a small green box, her face a mixture of sorrow and resolve. She opens it, then drops it into a trash can, a new determination in her eyes. The wife enters the bedroom, her eyes widening in shock. 2 beds, one neatly made, the other a rumpled mess. She realizes with dawning horror that her husband has been sleeping with the other woman right under her nose. He tries to play dumb, but she's not buying it. She confronts him about the strange perfume smell and he quickly makes up a lie. The other woman appears in the doorway, a smug look on her face. He tries to get his wife to go to bed, but she stands her ground. He tucks her in, then goes to the other bed. Where the other woman is waiting, they whisper and giggle, unaware that the wife is wide awake, listening to every word. A single tear escapes her eye. She clutches the pillow. Her heart breaking, the other woman taunts her in a voiceover, vowing to take everything from her. The wife squeezes her eyes shut. The breakfast table. The other woman playfully feeds him a strawberry. He eats it, then leans in for a kiss. The wife's face contorts in a mixture of rage and disgust. She steps out from behind the wall, calling out to him. He jumps, startled, then quickly composes himself. He guides her to the table, pretending everything is normal. The other woman smirks, watching the scene unfold. She tells him about a dream she had, a dream where he was sleeping with the other woman. He nervously sips his drink, trying to act casual. The wife continues, her voice dripping with false innocence. She talks about how a good husband would never cheat on his pregnant wife. The husband's face pales. He can barely meet her eyes. The wife then looks directly at the other woman and mentions the nanny. The other woman's hand tightens around her fork, her knuckles turning white. The wife continues to taunt them, her words like daggers. The husband tries to change the subject. The other woman finally snaps, dropping her fork with a clatter. The wife looks up, a triumphant smile on her face. The husband panics, covering the other woman's mouth with his hand. He tries to explain, but she pulls his hand away. A smug look on her face. She lies smoothly, claiming he accidentally stepped on her foot. The husband quickly agrees. The wife stares at them, her face a mask of cold fury. The other woman whispers to the husband, her words dripping with venom. She pulls out a small white bottle and sprinkles the contents onto the wife's food. The husband watches in horror. He tries to stop her, but she pushes his hand away. He looks at his wife, then back at the other woman, and he turns to his wife, a forced smile on his face. He tells her that his mother and sister are coming for her birthday, and that he has a special gift for her. The wife arrives at her birthday party, her husband's arm around her. He whispers sweet nothings in her ear, but she stares straight ahead, her eyes cold and distant. They enter the dining room, where his mother and sister are waiting. The table is covered in green, a green tablecloth, green food, a green cake. The wife's eyes widen in horror. She knows this is a deliberate insult, a reference to her husband's infidelity. The mother-in-law chimes in, her words dripping with false sympathy. The other woman then arrives, wearing a slinky green dress. She presents the wife with a gift, a green hat. The sister-in-law bursts out laughing. The wife stares at them, her face a mask of cold fury. The mother-in-law whispers to her daughter, telling her to be quiet. But the damage is done. The wife looks at her husband, then at the other woman, a slow, calculating smile spreading across her face. She realizes they are all in on it. A family of vipers. Her hand clenches into a fist under the table, a silent vow of revenge. The husband kneels before his wife, presenting her with a diamond ring. She stares at it, her face a mask of cold indifference. She pushes the box away, but the other woman intercepts it. She slips the ring onto her own finger, a triumphant smirk on her face. The wife watches, her heart turning to stone. The husband then presents her with another gift, a heart-shaped rock. He tells her it symbolizes their unbreakable love. The sister-in-law and mother-in-law snicker in the background. The wife's face remains impassive, but her eyes burn with a cold fire. A hidden camera blinking in the corner of the room. The husband's phone buzzes. He looks at a photo of the other woman, a seductive smile on her face. He gets up to leave, but the wife stops him. She hands him a document, telling him she needs his signature. He signs it without a second glance, too eager to be with his mistress. As he rushes out the door, the wife looks down at the signed paper. A divorce agreement. It's over. The husband and the other woman are in the back of a car kissing passionately. She asks him when he's going to divorce his wife. He pushes her away, telling her he loves his wife and will never leave her. She pouts, then seductively whispers in his ear, and he melts, pulling her back into his arms. The wife watches from the shadows, her heart shattering into a million pieces. She sees their hands pressed against the car window, their fingers intertwined, a cruel parody of intimacy. She stumbles back, tears streaming down her face. The pain is too much to bear. She clutches her stomach, a sharp cramp doubling her over. She collapses to the ground, blood pooling around her legs. She cries out for her baby, but it's too late. She lies on the cold concrete, Her world fading to black, the husband rushes his wife into the hospital, screaming for a doctor. She's wheeled into the delivery room, her face contorted in pain. He tries to follow, but a nurse holds him back. He paces anxiously outside the operating room, his face a mask of worry. A doctor comes out, and the husband grabs him, begging for news. The doctor tells him the baby is gone. The husband collapses against the wall, his body racked with sobs. The doctor then reveals that the wife's eyesight has returned. He realizes she's been faking her blindness, that she's seen everything. He stumbles back, his mind reeling. The wife is in the operating room, screaming in agony. The doctors work frantically, trying to save her and the baby. The wife has given birth to a healthy baby girl. The husband and the other woman enter the room. The wife pretends to be blind, reaching out for her husband. He plays along, his voice laced with false concern. He asks about her eyes, and she lies, telling him she still can't see. He grabs a fruit knife from the bedside table, a dark look in his eyes. He lunges at her, but she's ready for him. The husband tests his wife's blindness, waving a knife in front of her face. She doesn't flinch, and he's convinced she can't see. He puts the knife away, a look of relief on his face. He sits on her bed, telling her how beautiful their daughter is, but she ignores him, her mind elsewhere. He takes her hand, promising to be a better husband, but she pulls away. Later, the husband brings the baby home and places her in the crib. The wife watches him, a cold, calculating look in her eyes. He leaves the room, and the other woman appears in the doorway, a smug look on her face. She confronts the wife, telling her she knows she's not really blind. The wife stares back, her eyes wide with feigned innocence.